Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast, coming at you live on this Sunnyside Summer Thursday. Head to sunnyside.shop or the nearest Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary and use that code HICHGO, that's high CHGO, for 35% off your first order at sunnyside.shop. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders.
Can you guys believe that breaking news that we were just talking about?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I can't believe the Blackhawks gave that guy that much money.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. I don't know if I can emotionally recover from that. That's crazy.
For those that don't know what the hell we're talking about, because you're listening on the podcast, we had some technical difficulties to start the show.
Live podcasting is the best.
Yes, but they're all set now, and the podcast world doesn't know about that.
Exactly.
Until now.
See?
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, hope you're having a good Thursday. Thanks for being with us. Smash that like button for us on YouTube. That will help us prevent these problems in the future. And make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page as well.
Yes.
Podcast listeners, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We would appreciate that very much. Busy show today. We've got the big Cole Gutman contract extension to talk about. We've got the NHL rumor mill is a little cooler than yesterday, but still
cranking
it's
around.
Simmering. It is simmering, and the Hawks have another name to add to the pot of simmering ingredients in terms of potential trade partners. And, of course, it's Top 10 Thursday. Today we're going to do the top 10 non-North American-born Chicago Blackhawks of all time. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see maybe two guys on that list. Martin Havlat, Alex Jamnov. Stay tuned to find out.
Yes.
1 and 2, my friend.
That's right.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with the signing of the day, the Hawks news of the day. Cole Gutman signs a contract extension. It is a two-way deal, of course, as you would expect. 1-year deal that carries a cap hit of $775,000. Good work if you can get it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Cole Gutman really good in the AHL.
Yep.
Kind of meh in the NHL. He's one of those tweeters.
He's a 4A guy.
Yeah, he is what he is at this point.
Which is fine. Like, there's worse ways to make a living.
Absolutely. I mean, you can be a 15-year AHL guy and get 200 NHL games under your belt. It's not a bad job if you can get it. I know there was a lot of, people last year were like, oh, Cole Gutman, why isn't he up here? Well, there's a lot of reasons why he's not up here. He's fine if you need a guy for 4 or 5 games because of injuries. You need a guy to put on your third line. He'll score you a goal or two. He's not very fast. He's not very good defensively.
Yeah.
I'm the rally cry of plus minus is a dumb number, but sometimes it's not. And he was a minus 27 in 17 games.
For Cole Gutman, that's
not good.
That's not great.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can say, well, Connor Bedard was a minus 40 whatever in 82 games. Yeah, but he also scored a whole bunch of goals.
He also led the team in points.
Exactly. So I always find it funny, and I like Cole Gutman. Good guy. Always willing to talk, all that stuff. Nice little player. Probably going to play a lot more in Rockford.
Yes.
If everything goes right and Kyle Davidson improves his team like he says he's going to, and they avoid that injury bug, he may not play in Chicago at all this year.
Yeah, which is fine.
My thing that I found hilarious during the season is a lot of the same people that were on the megaphones saying, hey, we got to play Cole Gutman. Why is he in Rockford? We need Cole Gutman. Are a lot of the same people who say, you can't have a team full of 5'10" guys. He's 5'9". He's not big. You can't have it both ways. I like the move. Gutman's fine, but if everything goes right this year for the Blackhawks, he plays in Rockford the whole season.
That would be nice.
He is another Brett Seney. He is a guy that is going to put up points in the AHL. If he has to come up to the NHL, he's not going to kill you, but he's also not going to be an integral part of the roster. If he turns out to be, wonderful.
Sure, prove me
he's
wrong.
He's on a league minimum deal. If he does that, wonderful. But I just don't think that should be the expectation anymore. If he's Rockford's number 1 center, cool. That's good for him. He can put up some points in the AHL. He can lead a team that's going to be. Again, leaning on a good number of prospects, good number of young guys, a lot of rookies again in Rockford this year. And he's a young guy himself too. He's 3rd professional season, I think this will be, or maybe his 4th might be. But he's still young in his career. But good for him. It's smart for the Blackhawks. Like, there's really no reason to get too worked up about it. It's a good depth piece. It's a guy that they need to play a specific role for, development's sake. And then, if he plays, like you were saying, if he plays all year in Rockford, that means the roster playing in the NHL has significantly improved from last year.
Absolutely. And listen, if Cole Gutman couldn't become an everyday NHL player last season with that roster and all those injuries and all that stuff, if he couldn't somehow play up here all year last season, it's probably never happening.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, he had every opportunity to be like, I'm going to score so many goals, and I'm an imperfect player, but I'm going to put up numbers that you can't deny and keep me down, and it just didn't happen. And maybe if he had more opportunity, he would, but the coaches saw something in him that was very quickly dismissed.
He also had an injury end his season earlier than expected. Twice now, 2 years in a row.
Not
like,
a good thing.
That's
either.
tough. That's tough too. So
it killed the Ice Hogs in the playoffs. I mean, if
they could have
Gutman
used
and Nolan
him.
Allen against the Griffins, that probably is a different series.
Definitely.
All right, the other bit of news is we have another name to throw into the conversation for Blackhawks trade targets.
No way.
I know, right?
Another one?
Another one. And it's always fun to do this, and maybe none of them ever come true. But according to the fourth period and Matt Larkin, he has 8 potential landing spots for defenseman Jakob Chychrun.
Matt Larkin.
Of the Ottawa Senators.
I don't want this guy already because I can't spell his name or probably say it.
Chychrun.
Yeah, that's too many
That's all right. Don't
too
worry
many
about it.
consonants. Well, yeah, until there's a bunch
Just call him Luke
things I
Richardson's
spell wrong.
nephew.
That's right.
It's a lot more characters, but I think we could maybe work with that.
$4.6 million for next year only. Then he will be a unrestricted free agent. Plays both sides defensively, left and right. Veteran, but this is a guy and I'm not putting him in the same boat as Pierre-Luc Dubois, but he played for Arizona, Ottawa, and if whoever he moves to will be his third team as a 26-year-old. When I look at the two teams he was on, though, Arizona and Ottawa, I'm not going to make too much of that.
Two poorly run franchises.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. It's maybe not the ideal name, but as these names keep coming out, we are kind of getting indication of where the Hawks are sniffing around, what they're looking to add, and it's not just spot fillers. I think they're looking to add some, maybe not super long-term deals, but they're trying to find some guys that are going to come in and make this team significantly better.
Yeah. Chychrun, so is he your ideal candidate to be that, like, second pair guy to pair with Korchinski to help his development the way Alex Vlasic has benefited from being paired with Seth Jones? I don't think so. So the fact that he plays can play the right side, I don't know if that's what you want to do unless you're moving Korchinski down to a third pair. Then you say, okay, then those two aren't matched up. Then you could play him on the left side, and if you shelter Korchinski as a third pair defenseman who maybe you give him an opportunity to be a little bit more of a power play specialist in his second year, okay. I don't know. I don't know if that's the exact fit in the defensive group that the Blackhawks are necessarily looking for as far as his skill set. Obviously, being on a 1-year deal, that's fine. You can have the year play out. If he comes in, does really well, and you flip him at the deadline, cool. If he does so well and he likes it here and the organization likes having him around, you extend him, cool. I just don't know I don't know. I just don't know if I'm sold that the fit is great, but also I could be talked into seeing it work out. On the other hand, does he want to be on his third rebuilding team as a guy who's never played in the postseason?
I would say
the
difference, though, between Arizona perennial rebuilding and Ottawa perennially rebuilding is the Hawks actually have a path forward. And he knows they're going to spend money. They've spent money in the past. They've won in the past. So it's a little bit different. I'm looking at capitalfriendly.com, and they have like scouting reports and overall grades. It's kind of surprised me. They have him as a first pair projection, an 85 rating. And here's their kind of scouting report on Jakob Chychrun. This was from February, actually updated March 4th, 2024. Chychrun has contributed offensively for the Senators. He's produced 9 goals and 22 assists in his first 59 games played, continues to average north of 23 minutes per game. All of his ice time comes at even strength in the power play. In his defensive detail ranges, his minus 15 rating is the worst of any defenseman on the Senators roster. There are times in games he has difficulty timing his gaps and keeping opponents outside the dots in his zone. Best described as a two-way D who isn't shy about directing pucks on net in the offensive zone. He's been credited with 145 shots on goal and contributes offense on the power play, 4 goals and 8 assists. Plenty strong, 50 hits, 107 shot blocks. Excellent skater, affordable deal at $4.6 million. They have him as a top pairing defenseman at even strength. So that's, I don't know. I think the puck moving out, because we've been talking about like a guy like Chris Tanev making a lot of sense, who's basically all defense and definitely right side. But the idea of putting a guy who is also able to move the puck and willing to put the puck on net is not a horrible idea for Korchinski either. Or, maybe you mix and match that a little bit. Maybe Korchinski's with Jones, and then you put Vlasic with Chychrun, or however you want to do it. I don't know. To me, it's not my top option, but I would certainly be excited about Jakob Chychrun coming to Chicago.
I think if the deal makes sense, because what's Ottawa going to want for him? They seem like they're hard to read, because it's like, oh, we might trade our 7th overall pick, which you could really use, or hey, we might try and buy to contend right now. Yeah, you could also do that. But you got to pick. You got to pick which way you want to go. Do you want to give up a guy like Jakob Chychrun to build for the future, or are you going to trade your 7th pick to try and build for now while also they're a confusing situation.
They very much are.
It looks like they're trying to undo a lot of the wrong things Pierre Dorian did.
Yeah.
I mean, the Alex DeBrincat trade turned out to be not so great.
Didn't pan out.
They
for
gave
them.
up a lot more than what they got for him, and they only got 1 year of him, and
they didn't make the playoffs. And yeah,
they gave up a lot for Jakob Chychrun, and it hasn't worked out for them on the ice. What did they give up for him? Hold on, stand by. They gave up a first-round pick in 2023, a second-round pick in 2024, and a second-round pick in 2026. They gave up a first and 2 second-rounders.
Does it say who that first pick ended up being?
It does not.
It went to the Coyotes, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been the number 12 pick. It was Daniel Butt.
Daniel Butt.
Yeah.
Can't have too much.
So it just, I don't know.
That's a lot to give. Jesus.
Yeah, and now
Yeah,
you're going
that
to
was-
trade him.
and now you're gonna flip him again.
He's the hot commodity.
And you're going to flip him, and you're not going to get what you gave up for him
Hell
because there's
no.
only 1 year
No.
left. Chychrun, though, this is his last year of his deal, and he's turns 27 at the end of March. So this is where he's going to be like, I need to have the season of my career so I can get that huge mega deal and be secure the rest of the career. So, and the fact that they're already dangling him out there tells me he's got no interest of
Sticking around.
re-signing there. They already know that. He's gone, so let's trade him now.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Chychrun, 1 year, And is he, again, with the defensive situation that the Hawks have coming, and I know not all those guys are going to be great defensemen. Some of them may not even, but is that a guy you really want to invest long-term after this year? They're not really in the spot to, get 1 year rentals. It's not, does it?
But how long are you going to sign Chris Tanev for? 2 years?
2 to 3 years?
So, maybe if you give Chychrun a year, and if he loves it here and you really like what he brings, you could say, because I don't think he's ever going to be $9 million, $10 million.
Never underestimate the dumbness of NHL general managers when it comes to number 1 pair defense.
But what I'm saying is,
look what Darnell Nurse's
But if he's
contract
here,
was.
I don't believe Kyle Davidson will do something reckless or
he
stupid
wouldn't
with the
do that,
salary.
no.
which means somebody else will, and he'll be gone.
If they move him,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
But
even if you want to rent him until the deadline and give Del Mastro or Allen or whoever you might have pegged for that spot the half the season in Rockford to get 100%.
what does that really accomplish, though?
I think it makes your team better in the short term.
And then it does make your team better in the short term. But if to get them to flip them, that's kind of counterproductive to what Kyle Davidson was saying. What message does that send to your locker room? Hey, we got this really good defenseman in here. Our team's better, and guess what? We're trading him.
Well,
yeah.
And
Well,
what if you're 5 points out of a wild card spot at the deadline? You're not moving him then.
Well, I see your
Probably
point
not.
too, because
But maybe
you're right. If you are still in it, you don't want to move a guy who is probably your third best defenseman if things go the way we expect next year. But then you're saying you're also not in a point to give him a 8-year deal or you know what I mean and lock him up
somebody
long
might.
term. Right. So yeah, it's
And here's the thing. Anybody who's got a big contract that's on the trade market,
Correct.
of course the Blackhawks are going to be potential landing spot because they're one of the only teams that can take on a big contract.
Yeah, and
Well,
the
and
Luke
his
Richardson
isn't that
factor,
big.
No,
too.
4.6.
But
that's,
still,
yeah.
they have cap space. They want to add players. Of course, you can connect the dots. And Luke Richardson being his uncle also makes it easy thing to go, well, that's something that could happen.
I think the idea of bringing him in isn't crazy.
It's not the worst thing in the world. I just don't know if you're going to do it for 1 year, what that really accomplishes.
Well, think about this. Like, Foligno was brought in on a 1 year. He had a 1 year deal. Perry, before he was dismissed from the team, it was a 1 year deal. Like, Dickinson was on. He was on the last year of his deal. Like, it's if you're here and you're performing well and you're bought in and you're not a peen, like you're gonna be able to, be invested in if you want it. Like Kyle Davidson's going to identify guys that help push this team forward, and I don't know. With Chychrun, I feel like if he comes in, and let's say you do move Korchinski down to a third pair role, pull him back a little bit to let him
I'm on
eventually
board with
grow
that.
forward. If your top 4 next year is Vlasic, Jones, Chychrun, Murphy, I don't hate that.
No.
And if let's say you do get
eventually, somebody
if
will
you do
move
get
up
Chris
and Murphy's
Tanev,
gonna get hurt.
like say you also do get Chris Tanev, then if it's Vlasic, Jones, Chychrun, Tanev, Korchinski, Murphy, and then Kaiser's your 7th guy or Del Mastro or whoever, I'm okay with that defensive group for at least 3/4 of a season.
I think the only difference between what you're illustrating with Foligno and Mrazek is those guys were old and their biggest contracts are behind them. Dickinson is an exception, but I also wonder if Jason Dickinson hit free agency, what he would command, and I don't think it would be what I would imagine Chychrun will demand next summer. And I would think
Dickinson would have probably demanded slightly more than what he got.
if Chychrun wants to re-sign here for 2 years, yes.
I just don't.
I just don't see it happening.
He's gonna be a guy that if he is resigning, it's like 6 years.
He's going to be 27. A 27-year-old defenseman is not signing anywhere for 2 years.
Right.
No.
Yeah. All right, we got to hit the break zone. More to come when we come back, including Ivan Demidov's growth. Very exciting. But nothing's better in summer than going to a ball game. And,
Yeah.
in this town, maybe you're not totally invested because both teams have, frankly, kind of sucked lately. But still, just getting out there, being outside, enjoying the hot dogs and the beers and everything that the ballpark has to offer is awesome. And you don't want to worry about finding tickets. And with Game Time, you don't have to. They're an authorized ticket marketplace for MLB, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. The prices on Game Time, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And with those killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and those all-important views from your seat, that's what you need. And they've also got their low price guarantee. With all that, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Sometimes those ball games, it's the last minute. You're like, what are we doing tonight? That's a nice night. The Cubs are in town. The Sox are in town. Let's go to a game. Take advantage of those flash deals. You save even more with the exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. And like we told you, they've got that lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find similar tickets on another site. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code C as in Chychrun, H as in Havlat, G as in Guyan, and O as in Ovechkin for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I couldn't think of a G off the top of my head. I had to scramble for that one. Jaguar? Gretzky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What about him?
Gretzky.
Never heard of him.
That's
Brent
a good one.
Gretzky.
Yeah, Brent Gretzky.
Who could forget?
Am I up?
And also,
Oh, we're not.
Cuts?
that's right.
Talking about Cuts clothing?
Yes, we
Hey,
are.
it's summer. You want to look stylish? Get yourself some Cuts clothing. Most guys and gals would wear a t-shirt every day of their lives if they could. And let's all be honest. I do the same. The problem is that most T-shirts are not acceptable to wear at work or out on date night. So our friends at Cuts have finally changed all of that. Cuts T-shirts are such high quality, wrinkle-free, and so gosh darn buttery soft that you can look like you're dressing up even when you're dressing down. You heard that right. Wrinkle-free. I love that. You'll see my packing style when we go to Las Vegas is prone to wrinkles, but my Cuts shirts though,
Throw it in a bag.
don't have to worry about that at all. You never have to substitute comfort for fashion ever again. Dive into summer with Cuts. For a limited time, you can save money on MMA star Michael Chandler's favorite clothing company by heading to Cuts, C-U-T-S, clothing.com and use our code CHGO for 20% off. Embrace the summer state of mind with Cuts for a limited time. Again, our beautiful listeners can get 20% off your entire order when you use the code CHGO at checkout. That's when you go to cutsclothing.com. Use that code, 20% off. Please support us here at CHGO and tell them we here at CHGO sent you. The experience is perfect with the blend of style and comfort with Cuts Clothing.
One last thing about the Chychrun stuff.
Yes.
Remember how we always talk about the difference between building a team and filling a roster?
Yes.
Yes.
Jakob Chychrun for 1 year is filling a roster.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Now, you could trade for him and get an extension.
Sure. If that's where they want to go.
What if you do that right away?
Okay. Then that trade, you also... Yeah.
At 26, how appealing is it to him to come here for a year and sign a 4-year extension and hit free agency again at 31?
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
I just think, he'll be 27 at the end of the season. I don't... He may have visions of this is my chance, especially if he has a really good year. He may not want to sign an extension. I wouldn't sign a 4-year extension right off the bat. I said, no, this is my last chance to get the big contract.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and have the best year of my career, and then I'm going to get that 7-year, $56 million deal.
And I think as we sift through these rumors as they come out, that this is why we're doing the thought exercise here. It's like, okay, does this one make sense? What are the pros? What are the cons? And if I'm handicapping this thing, I think Jakob Chychrun to Chicago would seem
very low,
less likely than some of the other names we've heard.
Unless Luke Richardson
that
is
being
the
said,
world's greatest
expect a
uncle.
press release at 3:34 p.m. today.
Well, that's good. We'll still be on the air.
Fun thing for you, Jay. I just was looking for something else. And McKean's Hockey.
Yes.
Just put out their 2-round mock draft.
Ah.
You know who they have going to the Hawks at 50?
Don't
Jakob
say John
Chychrun.
Mustard.
John Mustard.
Oh, shit.
I can't.
They have,
There's just no way
get
that
the
guy's
hot dogs
good.
They
ready.
have Levshunov number 2. They have Demidov going 4 to
Come on.
Columbus. That would suck.
He's not
Who's
going
going 3?
fourth.
Lindstrom?
No, Silyev, the other
Silayev?
Silayev, the other
Okay.
defenseman.
No
Lindstrom 5.
shot.
Sure.
18, he has the Hawks getting Nygaard.
Yes. Down with that.
Please.
And according to them,
now you like it.
according to them, Nygaard, Emery, and Hage are all available at 18. That's a tough choice between those 3.
That is
I mean,
tough.
if you're taking Levshunov, you're not taking Emery.
Right.
So that crosses them off.
I
They also
would
have
say,
the
Nygaard.
aforementioned Trevor Conley going 16 to the Blues, which
Oh,
made me
hey.
chuckle a little bit.
hey,
What a fit.
It's got to be the Blues
have
or the
fun with
Bruins,
that.
right?
who's 34?
34 is Henry Muse.
No, I don't like that.
You can call him Henry Lewis and the Muse.
I like
Yeah,
it.
sure.
It's just no John Mustard.
They have Dean. They
Yeah,
have
that's
Dean
the problem
Letourneau
with
at
that.
Can't be.
33, 1 pick shy of the Hawks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That won't shock me, but you're getting a project. But anyways,
According to this mock draft, the
34th,
Sharks
no.
are getting in the first 2 rounds Macklin Celebrini, Stian Solberg at 14,
Okay.
Letourneau at 33, and Andrew Basha at 42. Hello, that's a really good. That's a really good draft right there.
That's a good first 4 picks.
That's pretty good.
That'll work.
Not bad, especially for San Jose.
Yeah.
They can take a project.
Yep.
for sure.
So
Interesting.
Just take
I like
Demidov, Kyle. We know
just,
you're
yeah,
listening.
don't
overthink it.
overthink it. That's our job.
Yeah, and now all the worries about Ivan Demidov's size they're now quelled because he's not 5'10", he's 6-0.5.
Hell yeah. Oh,
And now all of a sudden,
I heard 6-0 3/4.
woo, now he'll be fine. That extra inch and a half is going to make all the difference in his NHL career. The scouts now salivating more than ever. He measured in today at Dan Milstein's Russian Showcase Spectacular. At 6'1.5", 192 pounds.
Solid
he will grow.
size.
He is 18 years old.
Solid size.
Come on. This is the pick. This has. I'm getting to the point now where I'm not going to be happy if it's not him.
Come on.
I'll talk myself into anything but John Mustard. But seriously, I just like.
I hope John Mustard.
Man.
is
I hope
drafted.
John Mustard
I hope
is
he's a Hall of
right
Fame.
there.
I hope he's an all-star and a multi-cup winner wherever he goes.
It's like Sean Shapiro said, right? Like, they have the opportunity to get a legitimate stud forward. Maybe for the last time in a long time, are they going to have the opportunity to take a talent like this?
Maybe.
You can find your Lev Shunovs. Not to knock him. Maybe it's not as good as
You
Lev
might
Shunov.
already have your Lev Shunov in the system. His name is Kevin Korchinski.
I don't think they're really that. I don't think they're that.
They're a little bit.
similar.
I mean, still though, like
But like the same
Yeah.
type, like you have, if the defensive cupboard was bare, you had no defensive prospects, then it's an easy, you go Lev Shunov. But
yeah.
you have Vlasic locked up. You have Korchinski. You have, we can list all the names. There's Allen, Del Mastro, Kaiser, Rinzel. I don't think the need to use a number 2 pick for another defenseman is when you have a talent like Demidov out there, where you can have Bedard and Demidov for the next 12 to 15 years. I'm good with passing up on the right-handed defenseman for that.
Yeah.
it feels like you're Lev Shunov still.
I listen.
Or are you just either way?
If it's Demidov, wonderful. If it's Lev Shunov, wonderful. I feel like unless they're taking John Mustard at number 2, I feel like
or
there's
at all.
I feel like
Get
there's
Patrick Relish at 18.
I feel like there's really no way that they're whoever they're gonna pick. Like I really don't feel like there's a wrong choice. You talk about like the top 5, 8 guys of this draft class. I could be happy with any of them, but I feel like it really does feel down to, for the Blackhawks, based off of context clues and how they've approached talking to some of these prospects, especially these 2 specifically. It really feels down to it's one of those 2, and there's not a wrong answer. Either you're getting Bedard's, the 1-2 punch of those 2 guys, or you're getting, Alex Vlasic and Artem Levshunov as like the towers of terror on the blue line for the next 15 years. Like, no problems with either of those options.
I just wonder, and Greg said this, I think, the week you were out, Mario. It's like if they pass on Demidov and he becomes the next Evgeny Malkin or Kirill Kaprizov, you're just like, damn.
Yeah, but
could have had that.
What could Lev Shunov be? What if Lev Shunov is the next Victor Hedman?
Or Duncan Keith as
Duncan Keith,
Sean
as Sean
Shapiro.
said, taking the shortcut there. But,
he did say that tongue in cheek a little
Yes,
bit,
he
but
did.
just to be clear.
Yes.
But if Lev
Our chat
Shunov
didn't understand that.
if Lev Shunov is like a Victor Hedman or a Roman Josi, I don't think I'm gonna be upset that if Demidov goes
You're
and
right.
tears it up. Like, okay, that's fine. If you have a guy that's gonna be a top pair defenseman and be tops out as a guy who's gonna be in the Norris discussion, for a while, sign me up.
Plus, they need a spot for Mikko Rantanen.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Demidov has a better chance of being a special player than Lev Shunov has at being Roman Josi.
So so your thought is take the guy with the higher ceiling rather than the higher floor.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't think the floor on Demidov is that low either. I think
No,
people are pretty
I-
convinced he's going to be a good scorer.
Yeah, I don't think his bust potential is drastic, but I think from everything we've heard and seen from people around the draft analyst community, it really just feels like everyone's sold that Lev Shunov is going to be a solid NHL defenseman, even at his worst. So I don't know.
I want to swing bigger at number 2 than
I
solid.
like both guys. I'm going to be happy with either of them as the pick. Yeah.
Someone out in the chat earlier mentioned they've heard Columbus is interested in moving the 4th pick. I don't know what you're listening to, but
The
I
Mark
didn't see that.
Scheig? Can't remember.
Yeah. Hockey writers.
Yeah, he reported that this morning.
Okay.
I'll find it.
I missed that.
Martin Sheen?
Martin Sheen, yes.
Wow.
No, not Martin.
He's
Great
all over the
actor.
place these days.
Yeah.
All right. I don't.
No,
that
it-
makes zero sense to me.
I
But then
gotta
again,
find
nothing
it.
in Columbus makes it. I got him here.
You
Let's
got him?
see.
Yeah.
Don Waddle.
Don Waddell said that they were if there was a trade out there for the 4th overall pick that made sense, that they would make it. But I mean,
All right, that's
any
not-
GM,
that's
any
not
GM could say
shopping.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
pick.
If
That's-
they're going to give the Hawks Connor McDavid for number 2, then you'd probably
Yeah,
do it.
if the Blackhawks said we'll give you Bedard for
Oh,
number
yeah.
4,
Don
oh,
Waddell says
that makes sense.
For
Yeah,
the right deal. Yeah, that's not actively shopping it. That's if somebody calls and blows your socks off,
Mm-hmm.
and then said, 18 and taking on Line A's contract, is that enough for number 4? No, it's not.
No,
not
it's
for
not.
no, it's
No.
not. It's not happening.
No, I would.
No,
The
I-
Hawks would have
I
to
don't-
give up a ton to get number 4, and it's not worth it when you have number 2 already
right, exactly, and 18.
and 18.
Well,
Number 2.
Tomorrow, by the way, we're going to be at Salerno's for Game 6 of the Oilers and Panthers.
Yes.
We'll be there for the whole game. Salerno's right there on Grand and Racine. Come on out and join us, hang out with us, drink some nice cold Coors Lights, eat some nice piping hot pizza. They even got the gluten-free variety for Mario. And try the
Might have
wings.
2 of
Really
them.
good stuff. And when you're there, crack open that Prize
get
Picks
Prize
app
on.
and play some wagers.
Yes,
Yes.
Prize
Yeah,
Picks.
yeah.
Come join us to caught me off guard there. You caught me
sneaky.
off.
Sneaky.
Come join us at Salerno's, and then you can have all the fun with Prize Picks with that Stanley Cup final game. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 500 active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you versus the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and then watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with all your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community. Today, you can win up to 100 times your money.
Ooh.
It's so easy. You
lot of money.
you join us tomorrow. You download the app.
Yep.
You pick over or under Connor McDavid points, more or less, not over under, more or less Connor McDavid points, more or less Matthew Tkachuk hits.
Yes. More or less squares eaten by Jay 15.
Right.
Ooh.
We get a custom
15.
custom bet.
No,
15 squares of tavern style in the course of a 3.5
That's true,
hour
3
event.
hours.
That's
yeah.
way too low of a number.
Yeah.
That's
First
all you
place,
do.
5.
Hey, and here's the fun part about Prize Picks, besides adding pizza
Pizza bets.
wagers in there, is if you don't want to just do hockey, you can mix it up. You could throw in 3 Stanley Cup players, and you can do more or less on a Cubs player or a White Sox player or whoever the
Yeah.
Cubs
Less.
or Sox are playing. You can do it all. It doesn't have to be just one game. You can mix match games. You can mix match sports. You can even throw a dart bet in there or a video game bet. There's anything you want.
Who
They're
would
not
do that?
bets.
I don't know who
They're
would do
more or
that.
lesses. They're picks.
Hey,
Picks.
make your picks work for you while you're
Yes.
sleeping.
So download the app today and use the code CHGO for your first deposit match up to $100. So if you throw $100 when you use that promo code CHGO, they'll match it. You have $200 to make all those amazing picks. That's the code CHGO for first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Got to stop using that other 3-letter word.
I know it's tough. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to announce that Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. Yep, that's what the copy says. Whether you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bum. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this your smoothest season yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code HAWKS20. HAWKS20 is the code. Summertime and the trimming is easy. With the Manscaped Performance Package 5.0, it's got everything you need to prepare that summer bod. And it's not always just about the lower body. Maybe you're like me and you got like splotch, 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 splotch. You just don't want to look like
Is that
You
just
don't
your
want people
pizza
to see
stains,
that.
or is that your?
Yeah, right. Or you want to look, we want to have like the manicured, like the Razor Ramon, like the V of chest hair. Like
I don't take my shirt off enough for that to really
As well, same. I only do it when I have
That
to.
would only encourage me to take my shirt off, and nobody wants that.
Exactly. Well, whatever you want to do, you want to get fancy with your designs or just go whole hog,
Speaking
so
of
to
no
say.
shirts, shirtless dart guys. out there.
Hey.
Perfect timing.
There he is.
Is that a
His
Manscaped
tan.
chest?
Put that razor away. You're outside. Manscaped also has dual LED spotlights to provide contrast on multiple skin tones.
Wow.
3 length setting combs, and did I mention the trimmer is waterproof too?
Nice.
Beach, lake, or shower. This razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Please, if you shave
go
yourself
jump in a public pool and
at the
shave my
beach,
nuts.
you're going to get arrested. Okay. But what's clutch, though, is
Unless
those
you're going
lights.
to a beach in Europe, you
Yeah,
can probably
Yeah,
get away with it.
yeah. But those lights, those are valuable.
For
You don't
your
want to...
underwater manscaping.
Some of us have very little to spare, and a little nick could cause big damage. You don't want that,
that's
so
funny.
use those lights. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code HAWKS20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code HAWKS20 at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer Boys. Get on board or get
guess
left
it
behind.
is.
And for clarity, it is HAWKS20, not the word 20. I think that's obvious,
Hawks
but just in case it's not.
2-0. There you go. Brandon Saad.
You scared Cricket yesterday, Jay.
I know, Cricket. I'm sorry I
Stop
scared you.
scaring
Scared the
people,
shit out of
Jay.
me, too.
Well,
I
here's the
feared
thing.
for my
I know I ranted at the end of the show yesterday, and as we've been saying all along about this Patrick Kane thing, and I'm not going to rant today. A lot of it
Here we
comes
go.
from...
I'm not gonna rant today, but here
it
comes a
comes
rant.
from my concern, and credit to me, my concern
big
for
of you.
your well-being, because I see Hawks Nation getting worked up that it might happen. It might happen. Maybe Patrick Kane's going to come back. Maybe it's going to happen. And Kyle Davidson has said in no uncertain terms, dudes, gals, people, it's not happening. And then when he signs in Buffalo or re-signs in Detroit or Vegas or wherever he ends up, you're going to be pissed. I'm just trying to save you from the anger that's coming. It's not happening. It's not. Kyle Davidson said it last week.
Can we just close the book on that now?
I hope so.
We're done. We're
Yes.
done talking about it until he signs with another team, and then we can be like, told ya. One last thing about that rant.
Yep.
I believe it's Giggities, who's in our chat every once in a while with the Glenn Quagmire
Yes.
avatar,
Giggities.
is one of my Wednesday night trivia player
Oh,
regulars. Group of fine young lads who actually won for the first time last night.
Way to go, Giggities.
And he gave you a glowing review of your rant. He said, I turned it on right when he started, and he was like, it's the best thing I've heard in weeks. So there you go. You got one fan. You scared the crap out of poor Cricket, who we
I'm
love.
sorry, Cricket. I love
But you
you.
also get, you also get 5 stars from other fans.
There's people letting us know they're leaving because we're talking about Patrick Kane. This is a Blackhawks podcast. Patrick Kane is a free agent. It comes up every show. It comes up on Mailbag Monday. We're going to talk about it. I'm sorry. It's June 20th.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure.
As soon as there's more to talk about, we will.
Yeah, I mean.
But as Greg likes to say, it's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. Like, I'm sorry. We're trying to do the show that we're trying to serve all people at all times, and not everyone's going to love every second. I'm sorry.
I don't even love every second.
Exactly.
We made
all right. Why
some
don't we get
really
into
tough
our
decisions on some long-standing players. I don't foresee us going back on that. Kyle Davidson at the Combine earlier this month talking
I'm going
about
to get that tattooed
Patrick
on my
Kane.
forehead.
maybe obvious shirts can make us just that statement.
Or maybe we could do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we need it. Like
I'm just saying, like, maybe we could do it. You know.
I'll go
As
to
in-
like
as in the three
remember
of
back in
us.
like the 80s, you go and go to the mall. I remember Chicago Ridge Mall had a place next to Aladdin's Castle where you could just do like an iron
those
on.
little felt like stencil looking things.
Yeah, with like the what do you call it? Like the baseball, the ringer tee with
yeah,
the
let's do that.
Hell yeah.
I want
All right.
that.
The one up
All
by
right.
Wrigley.
I'll
Anyway,
see if they're still open next to
it's
Aladdin's
top 10
Castle at
Thursday.
Chicago Ridge Mall.
Let's talk about something else from the past.
Yes,
Yes.
let's do. Yes, let's continue to live in the past.
Yes.
as best we can. All right, today's top 10 Thursday is top 10 non-North American-born Blackhawks. So
Yes.
everywhere but Canada or the United States.
Yes. Well, as we learned, there's lots more countries than that, but nobody's played in the NHL from any of those other countries. Yeah, we did top 10 Russian players of all time, top 10 Swedes, top 10 Finns. So that's what led into this. What'd you forget?
Well, I forgot number 10.
Yeah, don't worry. There's a guy on here I forgot too. Number 10 is Artemi Panarin, who's so low on the list because
Oh my
Jay didn't
God.
put him in his
I
top 10.
forgot. I just missed him.
I only had him at 10th anyway because his career here was so short.
Yeah.
Just 2 seasons. but they were awesome seasons.
Not a long time, but a good time.
Exactly. 30 goals, 77 points, a Calder Trophy in his first year, and it pissed off a lot of people because he was 40 years old and he won it. And then the following season, 31 goals, 74 points, and then, of course, traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Still putting up monster numbers, still having disappointing postseasons, but a great international signing, a great find for the Blackhawks.
Mm-hmm.
2 amazing seasons here. I have a 72 Panarin jersey hanging in my closet. I'm not getting rid of that one. It's one of those guys where if he would have played more time here, he'd be much higher on the list.
Oh, yeah, for
Yep.
sure. I think I had
And maybe I
him-
would have remembered him.
I think I had him 5th on my list.
You had him pretty high.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's just the impact, and maybe some recency bias, but just the impact when he was here, instantly a stud. It was those 2 seasons were pretty fun watching him and Patrick Kane in his prime working together.
Redoing my list, I'd probably have him at number 6.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Hell of a nickname, too. Love
Redman.
it. Love the
Yeah,
Redman.
Redman.
all right, number 9,
Number 9.
Martin Havlat.
There you go.
Was a nice little addition to the Blackhawks. Was he a free agent or was that a trade? That was a free agent.
He was a free
signing,
agent
I believe.
signing.
Yes, they signed him.
Summer of
This is a
06?
long list. No, actually, it was a trade. 06 traded by the Ottawa Senators with Brian Smolinski
Oh, yeah.
Hell
for
yeah.
for a second-round pick. Michael Barinka, Josh Hennessy, and Tom Preesing. I don't remember any of those guys.
who and
Barinka,
who?
I kind of remember. And
yeah.
they picked Patrick Weircock with that second-round pick. But Martin Havlat was the best player on that team for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
He came on when the Hawks were very bad and
They
then
were-
got that first taste of
Getting that way back
dealt
up.
with some injuries his first couple years. His first season here, 56 games, 25 goals, 57 points. The
Pretty
following
good.
season, he was limited to just 35 games, but still had 10 goals, 27 points. His only full season was that 08-09 season where the Hawks made it to the Western Conference Finals. Played in 81 regular season games, had 29 goals, 77 points.
He had the OT winner in was that
first
game 4 of the Western Conference Final?
Yeah,
no?
because that was the only one they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had, did he score the overtime goal in the first game against Calgary?
Calgary, yep.
Yeah.
First playoff game. That playoff run, he played in all 16 games. He had 5 goals, 15 points in that playoff run.
It's funny. I think of him as less of a producer than he was. He was actually
When he
very,
was on
very-
the ice, he was a point per game guy.
That was the thing.
He was so good that there was a percentage of Blackhawk fans that were pissed off that we had to let Marty Havlat go in order to sign Marian Hossa.
Yep. One
It
of
worked out
One
in
of
the
them will
end.
be at our golf outing on the 22nd of July, and we can make fun of him for it still. James DeVoe. By the way,
I thought you meant one of either Havlat or Hossa.
I know, I was
like, whoa,
Yeah,
that's
oh,
making
hey, now.
that'd be
news.
great.
That'll sell a few tickets.
buy your tickets now to find out. ALLCHGO.com. Is it James DeVoe? Is it Marian Hossa? There's no way to tell. By the way, that was a 3-team trade. Mark Bell went to San Jose in that trade from the Hawks. That Havlat jersey was originally a Mark Bell, and my friends at Triple Threat Sports had it converted to a
Nice.
Havlat for me,
Nice.
so I could still wear it.
Nicely done.
So there you go.
Mark Bell. Oof.
That jersey
thought-
went
oh,
full circle.
Bell was 28, though?
Yeah,
Yes.
So
28.
you,
Yeah.
you changed the number.
Nobody
eight
should have
off.
been
Change the number and everything. Yeah,
Killed off
Triple
the
Threat
8.
Sports did a great
Oh,
job.
Nice.
Good
As
work.
they always do.
All right.
Free shout out.
Number 8, a guy I forgot wasn't born in North America until I went through the list.
Loophole.
No, hey, number 1 on our list is the same way too. Steve Smith checks in at number 8, the defenseman that was born in Glasgow, Scotland.
Yep.
Scotland.
This is a guy that Edmonton Oilers fans hate because of that own goal against the
tough.
Flames.
Yeah.
Then he was traded to the Blackhawks right after that. But he won a handful of cups, 3 cups with the Oilers. Came here. The trade was just a 3rd-round pick and Dave Manson. And that 3rd-round pick was Kurt Malpe, our guy that we see in the press box.
I'm
all
gonna
the
push him
time.
down the stairs one of these
always
days.
stands in our way. Get the hell out of the way, Kurt. But with the Hawks, he played 6 seasons 317 games, 25 goals, 136 points, 111 assists. That's pretty damn
Steve
good.
Smith
for
was
defense.
a bad man.
Plus 52. He also had 920 penalty minutes, including 304 in 91-92, his first season. So imagine having Steve Smith and Chris Chelios to deal with. Two guys that would just beat your ass and
Was,
not even need an excuse.
What, was Brian Marchman on any of those teams too? Because that guy will just flat out murder you on the ice if he
Yeah, I
put
heard
your
him
head
even
down.
kill his own son on the ice.
Yeah, Skokes. Yeah, I mean, Steve Smith was not an enforcer by the
Yeah, Brian Marchman was on for a couple of years. They had Chelios Marchman.
Smith.
Yeah.
Good luck. He was not a guy that would fight often, but when he did, he always won. Just a badass.
Called
What
picking
is
your
he up to
spots.
these days?
I loved Steve Smith. He was one of my first
what is
favorites.
Steve Smith up to?
He's coaching somewhere.
Just get him on. Just tell him how awesome he is.
Yeah, that'd be fine with that.
Hey, remember when you were on the Hawks? That was awesome. All right, thanks for joining us.
Things went full circle for him because he retired in 97 from the Hawks and then in 98 made a comeback and played parts of 3 seasons with the Calgary Flames, a team he helped win in the playoffs by scoring a goal when he was with the Edmonton Oilers.
Full circle.
So
So the last update on Steve Smith, in 2021, he was hired by the Rangers minor league affiliate Hartford as an assistant coach. It was named their interim head coach when Chris Knobloch was hired to be the Edmonton Oilers coach. So is he the current coach of the Hartford Wolfpack?
That would make sense.
there you go.
All right. Get him on. Let's get him in studio when they're in town.
Wolfpack.
They don't come to town very often. They're
No.
in the
No,
East.
almost,
should, just
almost
from-
never.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. When they come and play the Cam Abbott-led Chicago Wolves.
Yeah,
All right. Speaking of Chicago Wolves, here's a former Chicago Wolf.
Yeah.
Nikolai Habibulin, number 7
Bulin Wall.
on our list. This was a guy I don't think got enough credit for as good as he was when he was here.
Yep.
He had 2 stints here with the Blackhawks.
I always forget that second one.
Oh, I mean, that second, he got here as a free agent in 2005. And why that it was so important, that sticks out, because they got an all-star, former Stanley Cup winning goalie in his prime. The Blackhawks of that era never did that.
That's the same year they got Jason Cullimore, too, right? They got Cullimore and Hobby Boone coming off the cup.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming off the lockout.
It was the lockout.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
right,
Yeah, one and the same, right.
True. Both true.
But, I mean, his first stint here, he started 50 games, 60 games, 48, 39, then was signed with the Edmonton Oilers. He came back for that 08-09 season, his last year in the league. Oh, no. He was still here. 08-09 he came back
Yeah.
for 13-14, where he only played in 4
Yeah.
games. But that last year here, he was the starting goaltender in the Winter Classic, and he was the starting goaltender for 15 of the 16 playoff games, helping them get to the Western Conference Final before they lost to the Oilers, because old Cristobal Huet wasn't
No,
wasn't
he was
a
not
great
good.
signing.
Nope. That was bad.
But yeah, Nikolai Habibulin. I always liked Habibulin.
Yeah.
By the way, it is
Bulin
true.
Wall.
It is true that C. Smith is the current interim head coach of the Wolfpack. So
There you go.
All right.
Good for him.
All right. Let's get the top 6 going. Johnny Oduya, friend of the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was a guy I forgot off my top 10.
maker of comfy sweats and workout wear.
Yes.
Very comfy.
Johnny Oduya, 2-time Stanley Cup winner, longtime defensive partner for a guy that, spoiler alert, is showing up a little bit later in this
Shocking.
list. Johnny Oduya was a 2-stinter, wasn't he, too? He went
Yeah.
away and came back.
He came back in the 16-17.
Yeah, he was originally acquired from the Winnipeg Jets at the 2012 trade deadline for a second-round pick. That was wow, I love stuff like this. Traded for a second-round pick in the 2013 draft that was later traded to the Washington Capitals, who selected current Chicago Blackhawks Zach Sanford. So the Blackhawks totally won that trade.
Yeah, that's a good.
Please.
That's a good
I
deal.
love stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And then signed as a free agent with the Stars after 2015 and came back
Yep.
for a 4th-round pick and one of many first-round busts, Mark McNeil.
Nice.
Yeah, that guy sucked. Yes, but with the Hawks, 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Including those 2 championship runs in 13 and 15. 234 total games with the Hawks. 10 goals, 45 points. He wasn't there to do points, to put up points. He was there to play badass defense, and that's exactly what he did.
Steady defensive guy.
Yep.
Yeah. He was one of those guys that was just like, played his role perfectly.
Yep.
Never really had to question, what he was out there to do.
It's a great fit.
Yeah. Just was the right
And he was-
the right kind of guy at the right time.
If he was a guy that didn't have such a fun last name, you probably wouldn't even talk about him a lot.
Yeah, you wouldn't
because
think
you never
too much
had
about
to.
him. Yeah.
You never had to. When you're a defenseman in the NHL and you're playing in big time games and you don't get noticed,
Right.
it means you're doing your job.
That's
And
right.
that's what he did, night in and night out. All right, top 5. Speaking of Stanley Cup winners from Sweden, we have Marcus Kruger.
Yep.
Zoom, zoom. Marcus Kruger, a 5th-round pick back in 2009, another 2-stinter with the Blackhawks. 8 years total with the Blackhawks. Played 7, then went to Carolina, then came back. 472 games, 37 goals, 117 points, but another guy that was never relied on for offense, but it seemed that when he did score a goal, it was always a meaningful,
Significant, yeah.
important goal. He had a lot. He didn't score. It's not, how many you score. It's when you score them. And he seemed to be the guy that always had that important goal. 2013 Cup run, he had 3 goals, including a game winner. 2015 Cup run, he had 2 goals, including a game winner, that triple overtime game in Anaheim.
Yep.
Against Anaheim. So he scored 6 total playoff goals for the Blackhawks, and a third of them were game winners. That's what I mean.
That's how you do it.
Not bad.
Clutch.
Also a guy, we say this all the time, but had he played elsewhere, probably could have had more offense, could have had put up bigger numbers, maybe made more money. But as Nick Foligno discussed at the end of the year, you want guys who accept their roles and execute their roles, and there's no better example of that than Marcus Kruger.
Absolutely.
Marcus Kruger had an interesting transaction page. All right, July 2nd, 2017, the Blackhawks traded him to the Golden Knights. I believe that was to avoid them picking us whoever, that was a expansion draft. Hey, we'll give you this guy if you don't pick this guy type of move.
Yeah.
Then he was traded 2 days later to the Carolina Hurricanes for a 5th-round pick. The following spring, May 3rd, 2018, he was traded to the Hurricanes with a 3rd-round pick to the Arizona Coyotes for a 4th-round pick and Jordan Martinhook, who has become a nice little piece of Carolina. And then before that season even started, July 12th of that same offseason, the Coyotes traded him back in the Marian Hossa contract trade.
Yep.
So it was Jordan Maletta, Andrew Campbell, Mackenzie Entwistle, our guy, Marcus Kruger, and a 5th-round pick for a 3rd-round pick, Vinny Hinostroza, Marian Hossa, and Jordan Osterley. I believe he's still playing in Europe, though.
Yeah, I think so.
He's only 36. So
Yeah, I think is that what Oduya told us, that he was still playing?
he was still.
Yeah.
Yeah, still going.
I think he's still
Good for him.
playing. I know another guy on our list tried to come back this year. But,
I'll take him back.
Did come back.
Yeah.
Played a little bit, but then retired again.
Yeah, I think it was one of those where he's like, I can do this. No, I can't. Number 4 on our list, our other jersey on the dais here,
On the dais.
Alex Zhamnov, another guy that I don't think gets credit for how good he actually was.
He would never, ever, ever get love in this town.
No, because he was
It's understandable.
because he was traded for Jeremy Roenick.
Yes.
When you're traded for the most beloved player on your team,
Yes.
it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna suck. Hey, just ask Chris Foster's what that's like. Just ask a lot of people what that was like. Ask Jocelyn Thibault before he got here.
Yeah.
He was traded
For
to
Patrick
Montreal
Waugh.
for Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, right.
He was never
Good
going
luck
to
with that.
succeed.
Yeah.
No.
We see it a lot. It's why I always hated Patrick Poulin, because that's who we got for Steve Larmer.
Oh, and he sucked,
And
too.
he was terrible, too. The first reason I hated him, I hated him before I even knew he was terrible.
Yeah.
At least he proved me right. But Alex Zhamnov was really good on some really bad hockey teams. 8 seasons with the Blackhawks, played in 528 games, 140 goals, 284 assists for 424 total points. He was more of a playmaker
Yes.
Unfortunately, didn't have a lot of guys to pass the puck to that could score.
He had one.
He had one.
Tony Amani, and he made him a lot of money.
He did.
Second best number 10 in team history.
They got him
Brian
from
Noonan?
the Arizona Coyotes shortly after that they moved from Winnipeg. It was
Wasn't it their first year?
it was
Yeah.
the summer in between. Yeah,
Yep.
they wanted to go out and get a big name, so it was
You got Roenick.
a first-round pick in '97 and Craig Mills and Zamnoff for Jeremy Roenick. And the Blackhawks picked an absolute scrub in Ty Jones, who they rushed to the league and gave him number 27.
Yes,
that
they
pissed
did.
me off
Very quickly.
so bad. Again, it's one of those trades, just like the Chris Chelios trade with Detroit. Had they not swung and missed on those first-round picks, those trades wouldn't look so bad.
Yeah.
They got 2 first-round picks for Chelios, and neither one of them amounted to squat.
And if Anders Eriksson didn't suck.
Well, yeah, but
By the way, shout out to Josh Doig, who points out that Zamnov is the king of the one-hander, which is incorrectly credited to Peter Forsberg. The first guy I saw do it was Zamnov, where you break away, poke the pick, you're on the forehand, you pull it to the backhand and tuck it in with one hand. Zamnov did that all the time. Really
But
good at it.
Zamnoff was very important in helping build the Stanley Cup dynasty because he was traded to the Philadelphia Flyers with a 4th-round pick in 2004 for a young man named Jim Vandermeer who had nothing to do with it,
Good old number 23.
an unknown prospect named Colin Fraser,
Good old number
helps.
46.
and a second-round draft pick that was used to select Brian Bickle.
Good old
Also
number
helped.
29.
Yes.
There you go.
That's why I love going back to trades like 10, 15 years after they
Yeah.
helped.
Trade trees.
They happened so you could see, oh my God, that was actually a really good trade. All right, let's get through these last 3 here. I think you can figure it out on your own if you're paying
Yeah,
attention.
yeah.
But Nicholas Jarmelson checks in at number 3. And why the hell not? He's one of the most beloved Blackhawks of all time, the unsung hero
Yep.
of the Stanley Cup dynasty, 3-time Stanley Cup winner. Not too shabby for a 4th-round pick, 108th overall. If he was only a right-handed defenseman, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. 10 seasons with the Blackhawks, 623 games, 23 goals, 120 points, plus 109 in his career. And where is his blocks totals? He had
Lots of them.
holy shit.
A million.
A lot of them.
10 seasons with the Hawks, 1,186 blocked shots.
Over
That's
how many?
almost 2 a game. Average.
how many
almost
games?
Over 623. Nearly 2 a game in his career with the Hawks. And then he was traded.
1.8 per game.
And then he was traded to the Arizona Coyotes in
Sure
the summer of
And was still pretty
17.
Still had some good years in Arizona, even though they didn't amount to
I mean,
much.
his body
Yeah.
started to betray him.
As happens
and-
when you block 1,000 shots.
And
Yeah.
we got Larry Dolphin and some guy named Connor Murphy in that
Yeah.
trade. So you could say Connor Murphy's still playing at a somewhat high level when he's on the ice.
Yeah.
Nicholas Jarmelson's been out of the league for 3 years. So
Well, and Murphy went through that, not to the level Shamdorf did by any means, but people did not like Connor Murphy because of who he was traded for, too.
Right,
So
right.
it happens.
And,
Yep.
yeah, and like to Murphy's credit, he's in that mold of Nicholas Hjalmarsson, but he's not ever going to reach that level of
Right.
Nicholas Hjalmarsson.
Unless they win 3 cups.
yeah, his style of play and all those long playoff runs eventually caught up to him. And the Blackhawks were one of the smart trades of that era. Like, they got him while you could still get some value and,
Yeah.
moved on before the decline got real bad. All right, top 2. Number 2.
People forget that trade because it happened at the same time of the Panarin
Yes,
trade.
it was the same day.
Yeah.
I remember we were going to
Oh, yeah, I was losing my mind.
That was the day of the
day.
draft when it was here.
right, and we were. I was going to Mexico that day, and I was in the air on a plane and landed, and my phone was just like blowing up.
Blown
Those
up.
trades
Oh,
happened
God.
while I was on a plane to Mexico, and then I was like, "Whoa, that's a lot of stuff." But I'm about to go to an all-inclusive resort. I'll worry about that in a couple of days. Number 2 on our list, friend of the show. We still have his water bottle somewhere here.
Yep.
We lost his button though.
Not this one.
Marian Hossa, of course. Marian Hossa.
How's Baby Hossa coming along in the back to tank
Yeah.
where we cloned him in?
Oh, God. That
Yep.
doesn't look good. Back
Looks
to the
good.
drawing board.
That tail is fine.
Yeah, it's
We'll lop it off.
It'll grow into it.
Marian Hossa, the best free agent signing in Blackhawks history, one of the best in Chicago history. I think the only one you could really argue is up there is John Lester with the Cubs.
But 3 is more than 1 last time I counted.
It is, but 1 with the Cubs outweighs 3 with any team, I think. But that's just my opinion. But Marian Hossa, we've sung his praises forever. His number 81 is hanging in the rafters with the Blackhawks in 534 regular season games, 186 goals, 415 points, was a plus 133. One of the best two-way forwards to ever play the game. If he was a center, he would have won multiple Selkies. There's no doubt about that. The Selkie is biased against wingers, so stop doing that, Selkie, you biased person, you. In the playoffs.
Yeah, Frank Selke.
Yeah, Frank Selke,
Jerk.
you wing hater. In the playoffs with the Hawks, over 8 different playoff runs, 107 games, 21 goals, 73 points, 6 game-winning goals, 6 power play goals. So, man, he was clutch.
Yeah.
Marian Hossa scored one of the most famous game-winning goals in
Yes, he
Blackhawks
did.
history, Game 5 against Nashville, out of the box, sliding on his knees, celebration, immortal. That's the stuff of Hawks legend.
And he could throw a ball to first.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes. Well, you know,
Beat you to it, Jason
yeah,
T. Sorry.
so, yeah. Awesome. And a great guy. Absolute great guy. We look forward to maybe seeing him again here one day.
Speaking of great guys,
Yes, maybe one of the greatest
Number 1.
humans of all time, Stan Mikita. Not born in North America. I know he played for Team Canada in the Summit Series and was a dual citizen, but he was born in the former Czechoslovakia and was there until he was a teenager before coming over to Canada. But, I mean, we don't have to tell you how great Stan Mikita was. He's a record holder, rewrote the record books for Hawks. 1,396 games over 22 seasons. He started his career in the 50s and ended in the 80s.
yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy.
541 goals, 926 assists, 1,467 points. No Blackhawk has scored more points than that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Connor Bedard will probably break that in the next 3 seasons. Just kidding.
No pressure, kid.
Yeah.
Just be Stan Mikita.
But just an amazing player. And I love the fact, your story about how he changed, you talked to his daughter, and he had back-to-back years of 146 and 154 penalty minutes, and then won the Lady Byng in back-to-back years after that with 26 combined penalty minutes over those 2 years.
Yeah, his daughter said to him after a game, like, why are you always going and sitting by yourself and not sitting with your friends on the bench? And he was like, you know what? That's a good point. I should probably be on the bench more and available more. So he dropped the goonish ways and became a multiple-time Lady Byng winner.
Yeah.
Just a cool guy. And I am friends with his daughter, Jane, on Facebook randomly because when I wrote my book, she reached out to me. And just constant, like, candid home photos of Stan. Like, you just see, like, a total family man. And just the way he went so quickly was so sad. And just a legend. I remember he came into the score one day and I met him and I was just like, I flat out told him, like, I don't know what to say to you. Like, you are, like, beyond. He's like, oh, he's like, I'm just a guy. Just,
Great
good to
plaid
meet you.
suits, too.
Yeah, actually,
sure.
I believe he wore a plaid coat that day. But he loved being Stan Mikita. He loved the Blackhawks and just treated everybody awesome. So
From 1962 through the 68-69 season, or the 69-70 season, look at these goal totals: 31, 39, 28, 30, 35, 40, 30, 39. That's when they played 70 games a season, too. And then at age 33, he had a 30-goal, 80-point season. The following year at age 34, 36, 86 points for those Blackhawks. And one of the nicest guys ever meet. I remember I used to be a member of the Blackhawks Standbys, the fan club, and we had a, holiday party at the United Center, like in the Harris Club. It was like on a non-game day, so we were the only people there, and unannounced, Stan Mikita just walks in. I was like, I heard the team tell me you guys had your party. I thought I'd drop by. And he stood there, and he had an armful of, color photos, and he sat there and he signed for everybody, talked to everybody. He hung out with us for like an hour.
It's awesome.
He made time for everybody. Once he was welcomed back as an ambassador in the organization. I remember when he came out with his book, he'd be in the concourse at games signing, and like they would try to cut the line off when the period started. He was like, no. Those people are in line. I'm going to sign their books. Right. It took forever because he wanted to say hello and talk to everybody, but awesome. Always had time for everybody. And that's the kind of things people don't forget. That's what makes you legendary.
Yeah.
As great as he was on the ice, he was even better off the ice.
Another story I have about him is what is that? The Route 83 and Plainfield Road. Maybe it's Darien or whatever that is right there. Buffalo Wild Wings. He lived in the Western Burbs, and me and my wife walked into Buffalo Wild Wings when they had Stan Mikita just sitting there, like, waiting for a table. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's Stan Mikita. His jersey's on your wall there. Get him a seat. They're like, what? I'm like, oh, my God. He's like, I don't care. I can wait. He's just sitting there by himself, just waiting for a table at B-dubs.
That upsets me.
Like
that upsets me that Stan Mikita had to wait for shitty
so
chain
cool.
wings.
He just wanted his blazing wings.
It was so funny. I'm just like,
was he a bone-in or a boneless wing guy?
I never saw him sit down and eat. We were walking out. And I'm just like, that's Stan Mikita. I like looked like triple take. And he's just sitting there, just waiting. I got nowhere to be. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Before we go, we got a nice comment from Edward Klassen who says, hey, y'all, first time, long time. Great to join you. Felt like I was missing out on one of the world's top 5 daily Blackhawks podcasts. I don't know if that's a joke. How many Blackhawks daily podcasts are there?
I don't know. Are there 5?
Well, we're definitely in the top 5.
We're definitely in the top 5.
Yeah, I hope so. Because if there's 6 and we're not in the top 5, we got to up our ante.
Yeah. Well, thanks anyway, Edward.
I don't think any of those other daily Blackhawks podcasts ever had Marian Hossa on it, did they?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
See, Barrow's Dragon says randomly ran into Stan Mikita at Best Buy with his grandson.
Nice. Buying an HDMI
He's just
cable.
hanging out, man.
Stan Mikita was a regular dude.
Yeah.
And that's why this city loved him so much, because he was Stosh. He was the guy that, you'd go, lay some asphalt with and have a beer after the game. Like he was everybody knows a Stan Mikita in their group of friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was as Chicago can be.
Well, that was fun. I like that list. I'm so mad at myself for missing Panarin, but whatever.
He made the list, though.
It evens out.
You didn't screw it up completely.
Should we give out our personal top 10s?
Sure, we can do that.
Mine was the same. 9 of the 10. I had Antoniemi on there and did not have Steve Smith.
Okay.
The only guy I had on that did not make the list was Johnny Gottsilig, who was born in Russia, played from the inaugural season to the 40s, scored over 400 points, won 2 Stanley Cups, and then coached the team for 4 years.
Okay.
He was very impactful.
Big.
I'm a sucker for the old school guys. I knew he wasn't going to make the top 10, so I put him at 8 on my list, leaving off the other Johnny, because I knew you guys were going to vote for him, so I knew he was safe.
All right, all the guys that were on the list are on mine, aside from Panarin, and the guy I have instead at number 10 was Michael Nylander, who had a good run here.
I almost put Michael Handzus on the list.
Yeah, I mean,
Hanzus, Roosevelt,
was
Frolik, all the Michaels. All the Michaels.
Roosevelt was there. Michael Frolik also got some consideration.
I had
Steve Thomas was in the running because he was born in England.
Yeah.
Stumpy.
I had.
How do you get that name?
He isn't he Manscaped?
I had
Just enough to win.
Teravainen and Ruutu on my short list as well.
Yeah, I didn't put Ruutu on there.
No.
Too short of a time, and it hurts too bad to bring him up.
It's big of you. It's also because you forgot his jersey. Probably.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Going through this list was fun, and yeah, like the top 3 was easy.
Oh,
but then you start digging down. You're like, all right, you're figuring out your list. And then for me, I was just like looking. I was just like, I know this might not sound like a wild thing to say, but I was like, man, a lot of the best Blackhawks were just Canadians.
I was looking through
I was going through their top 50 points and games played. I'm like Canadian, U.S., Canadian.
You also have to remember the first 50 some odd years
all
of the
Canadians.
franchise.
Yeah,
it was only Canadians.
Yeah.
Very rare for a United States player to make it.
Yeah.
In the history of the franchise, only 12 of their goaltenders haven't been American or Canadian.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy. And a lot of them had really short runs.
Yeah, I looked through the
Like
goalies.
Anton Hudobin, Andrei Trefilov. That's a combined
Anton
8
Hudobin.
games.
Anton
One
Hudobin,
game.
One game. I'm just here for the juice and the money.
Please put electrical tape on my pads to make it look like I'm on the team.
One game, 6 goals allowed. Thank you, sir.
Anton Hudobin looks like. You ever watch like Law and Order when they have the Russian mafia
Yes.
episodes? He looks like.
He's unloading a truck in an alley.
He looks like the guy in the velvet tracksuit that is like the first suspect they bring in that leads them to the bigger suspect. That's Anton Hudobin.
Well, who could forget his long run in Chicago? Stuff of legend.
It is.
All right, we're going to be back on Friday at 2:30. And remember, tomorrow night, we're going to be at Salerno's on tap right there on Grand and Racine. Come eat some pizza, come eat some wings, come watch the Oilers and Panthers hopefully force a Game 7 to keep hockey going.
Yes.
You're either going to see the Stanley Cup get given out or one more step away from an all-time historic comeback/choke job, depending on how you want to look at it.
It's true.
Either way, I'm down. Make it a 14-game series. I don't care. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 2:30. Make sure you smash that like button for us on your way out. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.